Okay, Mr. Peter Obe, good morning. I'd like to ask you, what key element would you say is the singular factor, or will I say if there are multiple factors, what would you say really stand out for you that make these elections the worst, as you have described them to be?
Well, the issue of the so-called beavers, which have changed to basic value acceptable. So you have promised that you're going to conduct an election through a particular process, and that process failed completely. So that is it. So
in effect, to say that the beavers failed completely, would that be accurate, considering the fact that
the server,
you know,
which we were
for
told,
accreditation,
no, the
beavers worked. It was to take the pictures.
Okay, maybe not completely, but it failed on the most critical aspect of the beavers. You know, it failed on. It's like a situation where you've been promised this fantastic three-course meal, and you came in with a little starter, waiting for the main meal, and they carried it away. So you can't say you have been fed, because the main thing was not going from the pulling unit to the server. That is the main meal. So they took away the main meal and said, okay, the beavers have worked, because so you can't walk out and say the meal was fantastic, because after all, they gave me the little starter, and then the main meal was not served. And
that's the IREV.
That's it. The main thing was not there. Nobody, even in my village, where people are not sophisticated, not educated, they were all glued to one place, waiting to see the result coming in through, like they told us that everybody will be seeing it. I'm sure you didn't see it, my sister. They said it failed.
That's the IREV. The IREV is separate from the beavers. The beavers accredits people, and then it's supposed to take a picture and upload it to the IREV. The IREV did not work on that day.
Yes, me and you know the difference between all this. For the average Nigerian, that is all included. And I want to speak to the average Nigerian. What they've showed us, whether it's IREV, whether it's the IRA, what they told us is the beavers is from this to this. We are promised this sumptuous meal, and we just had a serve of the starter, and they disappeared with the rest of the food. So we didn't. That is the worst lunch we have had.
I've had to make that clarification, because you know that the beavers is also going to be used again in this governorship elections, and a lot of people might be imagining that that exactly was the instrument of fraud, and maybe might be reluctant to use it, or might be reluctant to come out. But the IREV was, you know,
where people are already reluctant,
and I'm very happy for how you have.
Thank you.
How you described it.
People are already,
you know, moving beyond that,
might not come out. You know, we're pushing them now.
Yes,
we're begging them to have faith and come out.
Exactly. So I know as a result of that, you've been going around a number of states. I mean, you've given speeches, you've done a few thank you visits around a number of states to thank your supporters for their votes on the day of the presidential election. And I think yesterday you were in Jos, in Plateau State. I don't know where you're going next. I don't even know how you're doing it, because you were in Jos and now you're in a different location entirely. I'm wondering, what state would you be really keeping an eye on for your governorship candidates? Because some people within your party are saying, yes, we voted you because of your capacity and your competence, but we're not going to blindly vote Labour Party, you know, top to bottom in all cases if we're not confident about the candidates that your party is fielding. How are you going to persuade such people to, you know, continue to support the Labour Party and understand party politics, as the case might be?
let me tell you, I support the obedience. Please do not vote blindly. We have a country, and we have a problem, and we need to deal with it. And I've said, please, you watch one will be character, competence, capacity, and compassion. The country needs to see competent people in position to serve. So do not vote blindly. And we have them in a number of states. Remember, labor is not, remember what they told you when we were starting, that we don't have structures. So we don't have people all over the place competing. Please, we have some states where we have competent people. You can, let me start with Lagos. We have a competent hand here, young, dynamic man that can do the job. We have in Abia. I was in Jos, like you said. And if you look at it, I've visited most of all those states where I think we have competent people that can do the job. We have in Kaduna, we have in 1 or 2 states. We don't have all over the country. Out of the 10 states, 30 states or so, that is 28 states where the election for governorship is coming up on the 18th. I think probably we have about 6 or 8 of them where I think we have candidates who are participating, and I feel they can do the job. And remember, we have said that anybody that is elected on Labour Party, we're not going to sit back. We're going to ensure that it follows our tradition, our culture, and our performance indices in developing. So we have candidates across. In the Southeast, we have in Enugu, we have in Abia, South, we have in Delta, you know, Southwest, we have in Lagos, in North Central, of course, mentioned Jos and others. So all I said to you, vote where we have competent, qualified people that can do the job. And in other areas, please do the same thing and ensure that the right things are done.
Well, just one more thing from here. I mean, you ran a campaign that a lot of people didn't give yourself and your team a chance. People kept talking about the structures. Now, quite a number of them tell us they're thinking differently. Your campaign, the way it all came across, many like to see things go differently. But just to get your mindset on this, what is it that you like to see? I mean, you've spoken about you expect them to come out this Saturday and vote, expectations from INEC as well, also there as well. What immediate change would you like to see done? Because the Electoral Act didn't highlight certain things. They may have been in the guidelines, which could change. I know that some persons had gone to court about the BVA, I beg your pardon, about the voter cards, them using the slip and not necessarily limiting everybody to the permanent voter card. Now, what would you suggest we do as a country, or lawmakers look at this 10th Assembly such that we don't lose the enthusiasm that a lot of young people had coming out for these elections?
Well, Chamberlain, you know, I don't know what I can tell you that I would say there needs to be done in the immediate, or what is expected. But you know, because why do I say so is that simple things becomes very difficult in this country. Like I said, it's just about the election. All I want to see in this country is that we have a government and the people believe in the rule of law, in following the guideline. If we say we're going to do it this way, let's just do it that way. As I said earlier, I will conduct, if I'm in position, And the people will see it happen in this country.